The NFL season is over. Every single team now has their future head coach, and for the most part, we know what every team looks like heading into a pivotal offseason. So in today's video, I want to give you guys my updated rankings on whether or not teams have a bright or an uncertain future. Hit the like and subscribe button if you're new and going to enjoy. Let's hop into it. So as you guys can see, we have a beautiful tier list, and it's not centered on your screen. Let me fix that. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, let's move a bit more. Can you see Seattle? There you go. We now can see it officially. All right, we got the tier list, as you guys can see. Very bright, signs of light, uncertain, now or never, scary future, or in absolute hell. I think it's pretty clear and obvious what each one of these means. We're going to do this in the order of the tier list, starting off with the New Orleans Saints. And my cat is meowing over there. Hey, Rocket. Shush. She's staring at me right now. She's going to kill me tonight. Anyways, New Orleans Saints, man. What a fun year this team had, especially towards the back end. Obviously, first couple weeks there, that team was an absolute hell with Spencer Rattler. But, you know, look, Rattler wasn't terrible to start the year off. Give him his flowers. Tyler Shock went in there, and, man, he really lit it up. I'm not going to put this team in very bright, but you're definitely trending in the right direction. It's definitely in one of these top 3 categories. I'm going to do it probably in signs of light. I know that team might be a bit harsh, but I can't put it in bright because we haven't seen the full sample size of Tyler Shock. We've seen him for what, like 7 games in the back of the year. I think Kellen Moore has some flaws. It was weird how Kellen Moore really struggled with those early game scripts. Like, that team would come out the gates just completely sluggish, and then as the game went on, they got a lot better. You know, so it's just a little bit, you know, weird in that regard, but I can't put them in very bright or bright yet. I'm going to save those for like teams that are like really trending in the right direction. New Orleans is definitely getting there though, and it seems like they might have their head coach and quarterback of the duo of the future. So we'll put them in signs of light, definitely on the front end there. Next up, the Miami Dolphins, and we did this video back in November, and the Dolphins were on the very bottom. But since then, you know, they've actually kind of gotten back on track. Yesterday, I mean, they made a number of big-time moves. They cut Tyreek Hill. They cut Bradley Chubb. And it sounds like they're shopping Tua Tagovailoa, which, you know, we'll see if one of these teams takes a shot on Tua. But, man, they went from a team that was an absolute hell to now I kind of think it's more like uncertain more than anything. It's definitely not bright because they don't know who their quarterback of the future is going to be, and we haven't seen Jeff Hafley really do anything out there. So because of that, I can't put them in bright or anything close to that. But now they've opened up a bit of cash. They've gotten off some massive contracts. They get to sort of reset their roster. I can't put them in absolute hell or even scary future because, frankly, you know, scary future to me is like a team that is not going anywhere and is clearly on a downward trajectory. Miami at that point in November was on a downward trajectory, but now they've kind of stabilized the ship a little bit to where now I just feel like it's more uncertain more than anything. So I'm hopeful for this team that they can get back on track. But in November, man, it was quite scary. Next up, we got the Baltimore Ravens, and this is another one of those teams where if you had asked me this question back in November, it would have been kind of down here. But with the hire of Jesse Minter, I'm actually kind of excited about it. I'm definitely going to put this in now or never, though, because this team is ready to win now. And if you don't win now and you got like a 2-3 year window with the rest of your roster the way it is, if you don't win in the next couple years, it's going to be hard to keep the group of guys together. It's going to be hard to keep relying on Lamar Jackson and that insane athleticism because, let's be honest, Lamar Jackson will take steps backwards in his athleticism. That's part of getting older. And so he'll have to rely a little bit more on his arm, which then will, you know, make the roster a little bit different. And you have to build your roster a certain way. Derrick Henry's not 22 years old anymore. He's getting up there in age. If they don't win a championship sometime soon, boy, it could get kind of dark for Baltimore. But they usually find their way out of the depths. I like the head coach hire. I think Jesse Minter, what to me was the best head coaching hire of the cycle. So for now, it's now or never with Lamar. With Minter, though, I feel pretty good. The future's not like bright or anything like that, but it's definitely, you're not feeling bad about it right now, but you got to win it now, or who knows if you ever will with this team. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals, and, you know, I'm not going to put them in absolute hell. I'll put them in, like, scary future. You can maybe make the argument it's now or never for them as well, but, look, you know, but with the ownership the way it is, maybe they are in absolute hell. I don't know. I'll put them in scary future. I don't know if I'll have a single team in absolute hell, but, you know, we'll maybe poke some fun at some teams here. Cincy could be considered for it. Maybe we'll change it before we end the video off. So you guys got to stay and wait to see for that one. But when it comes to Cincy, like, look, they have talent on this team, right? And you head into the offseason now with like $50-ish million in cap space to work with. You make a cut, you make a restructure, you can get a bit more cash. Now they have a lot of holes they have to fix, primarily on the defense, and I still think interior offensive line is a massive need. But it's not like they don't have assets and things to work with. And look, when you have Burrow, Chase, and Higgins all healthy, you're like one of the best teams in football. Specifically, not best teams. Let me rephrase that. You're one of the best offenses in football. Best teams, yeah, you got to get a defense that doesn't give up 45. But since he is a team that, has genuine pieces and genuine talent on the offense specifically, and even defensively, like, Joseph Osai, Murphy, I like some of those young linebackers, and there's some secondary guys that are solid. But you got money to spend, you got things to work. The reason why I put in Scary Future is, look, Joe Burrow, man, that was a weird couple months there where it just looked like he didn't want to play, or maybe not necessarily didn't want to play, but just didn't look right in his own, kind of skin. He looked like a shell of himself, and then he played, and his play was really good. It wasn't like he took a step back, but with Burrow's constant injury concerns, with all the team needs you have, with the ownership the way it is, it's definitely none of these. It's more of a scary future for this team. All right, let's go to the Denver Broncos, and look, I'm going to put it in very bright. The only reason why I'd even consider it for bright is the Sean Payton and Bo Nix beefing through the media stuff, which is weird. And for Sean Payton to do that, brother, you're like 50 or 60 years old. Like, why? The fact that Bo Nix, the guy on his rookie deal, handled it the most mature way, it's silly to me. So hopefully those two guys sit in a room, fight it out, and then come out of that room feeling happy and peachy. Was it peachy keen, whatever the term is? Peachy, right? The roster is so good, though, and I think Sean Payton is an excellent coach. I think Bo Nix is a good quarterback. Is Bo Nix the Caleb Williams, the Drake Mays of the world? No, he's not. But this Broncos team is so well put together and so well coached that it's like they don't need Bo Nix to get there. And look, if Bo Nix was healthy in the playoffs, they would have beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. I don't think there's a lot of question about that. And if Bo Nix was healthy, a Broncos-Seattle Super Bowl would have been a lot closer than what the Patriots Super Bowl was. So I think they're in a great spot. They're definitely one of the favorites to win it all next year. Not my personal favorite, but they're in the conversation for sure. Moving over to the New York Giants, and I'm going to put them in signs of lights. I know that some might say put them in bright or very bright, and I definitely can get there with them, but the reality of it is this team has to be able to stay healthy, right? I mean, it's only a 1-year sample size, so I don't want to overreact here a little bit, but look, I like the Harbaugh hire. I feel like there is some good positives there. I wasn't a huge fan of the coordinators they brought in, but I still feel like Harbaugh, like, if there's a coach that knows how to hire the right coaches, Harbaugh is usually one of those guys. And Harbaugh does have a good track record, and, his veteran presence in the New York Giants facility could be kind of a good thing. I just worry about the last couple of years there in Baltimore and how that, all kind of fizzled out towards the end. And then Jackson Dart has to stay healthy. And what does he look like now in his sophomore year? Look, let's be honest. Sophomore slumps have happened in years past. And with the way that Jackson Dart's game is, I'm interested to see what he looks like next year. Is he able to replicate the success? And how does he adjust to now having a new head coach and new, quarterback coaches and all this and that? That's all very fascinating. So for now, I'm going to put them in signs of light because you got the talent. You have a top 10 pick in this year's class. You have Neighbors. You feel good about Scatabo. You have Andrew Thomas. You have Jackson Dart. Really, the offense just has to stay healthy, and it should be pretty good. And defensively, they underperformed last year. They had a ton of talent. They just didn't get the job done. They should be able to with the right coaching. I'll put them in signs of light. I can't quite get there with very bright or bright just because of how many injuries this team suffered. And I just, there's a couple things holding me back on the Giants from getting to the tiers of these ones, but they're definitely trending in the right direction. Like, they are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Minnesota Vikings, man, this one is, I almost feel like I have to put it in uncertain because until we know what's going to happen with the quarterback position, I don't feel like I could put them in bright or like dark. If they rock into next year with JJ McCarthy yet again, I mean, you're looking at one of these three spots, and that's not to discount JJ McCarthy. It's just a simple fact of like JJ looked bad in his rookie year. And unless he can take a big time step forward and stay healthy for a full year, then maybe we're talking up here. But I haven't seen a ton of signs that JJ can be a franchise quarterback. And you're looking at a roster that, let's be honest, is ready to win now. I'm not going to put them in now or never because they are a fairly like middle-aged young team. They're not like Baltimore that has a number of, aging guys that are getting to the late 20s, early 30s. Minnesota's a roster that is, for the most part, fairly young, especially in key positions. So I'm not too concerned about it being now or never, but it does feel like it's, let's get the ship rolling or else we're going to miss our window here. So I'll put them in uncertain. LA, I'll put them in bright. Only reason why they're not in very bright is just the simple fact that Stafford could quite literally retire at the end of next year or the year after or the year after. So, as long as LA has their franchise guy in Stafford, they're going to be up here, of course. But the looming fact of the retirement of Matthew Stafford, it definitely has a bit of a grip on that Rams team, knowing, hey, it's kind of now or never. The reason why I don't put them in now or never and I keep them in bright is their roster outside of Stafford is fairly young and it's really, really good. So hypothetically, you get off of Stafford, you bring in a young quarterback, they should be able to have success in that building. All right, Tampa Bay, boy, is it weird not to put them in absolute hell right now. They're such a talented football team, but let's be honest, with Baker Mayfield leading the ship and with the coaching staff the way it is, are you feeling great about it? It feels like this is a little bit harsh to put them in absolute hell. I'm going to put them in scary future. They're such a talented football team. They should so easily win the NFC South, and they should be contending deeper into the playoffs, but we saw Baker just dive off a cliff after his midseason excellence, and we know that their head coach, he's a bit limited, right? And they didn't make the firing. They didn't get rid of him. They decided to stick with him and Todd Bowles for another year, which was a little bizarre. Now, granted, it wasn't a great coaching cycle, so I kind of understand, but Todd Bowles, I don't know. It's a scary future for this team because I don't think they're going to win a championship, and even if they get into the playoffs, with how last year ended, I don't know. I just don't know. Plus, they don't have a ton of money this year. They do have their own first-round pick, so they're fine there, but I don't know. Detroit Lions. Man, this one's really bizarre. I mean, you asked this question last year or the year after, it would have been very bright to bright or something like that, but when you look at the contract situation in Detroit and how many massive contracts they have to hand out and how they're going to be able to juggle that while retaining guys, signing external free agents, things like that, it's going to be very difficult. I mean, this core group of guys, if healthy, is good enough to win a championship, but it's just going to be very difficult to pay all these guys, which is almost going to be next to impossible, by the way, while also bringing in external free agents that can play a significant role, right? You got to pay Jack Campbell. That probably means you're not going to be able to pay Alex Anzalone, right? You want to pay Brian Branch. Well, are you going to be able to afford Terrion Arnold when his contract comes up, right? You want to pay Sam Laporta. Can you afford to, pay for a high-end center in free agency? The answer is probably no on a lot of those. So that one's tough. And we've seen it now with this roster for the past couple years that they just haven't been able to get over the hump the past few years. And injuries have also been brutal for this team. So, look, I'm going to put them in man, this is tough because they're such a talented football team. And it's they can win a championship any year if they could just put it all together. But I'll put it in now or never. Because, if you're Detroit, you're not an old football team. You're young. But it's just going to be difficult with how many massive contracts you have that it's if you don't win it this year or next year, this core group of guys you have now, Branch, Campbell, Gibbs, Montgomery, Amon-Ra, Jay Will, Goff, Penei Sewell, et cetera, Aiden Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph, all these massive guys, there's going to be guys that are going to have to leave because that's just a lot of massive contracts. All those guys could get paid, I don't know, top 10, top 5 in their position. And that is tough for the Detroit Lions. That tells you how good they've drafted, but it also tells you that they've kind of missed a little bit of their window. And it feels like these last couple years here are the last remaining windows of this major core. Now they'll develop, they'll get better, but still, it does feel like it's now or never in some ways. Next up, we got the Chicago Bears. I'm going to put them in very bright. I think they nailed their head coach hire. I think they have their quarterback of the future. Their offensive line worked out. You have some questions for sure. The defensive line, you have some safety free agents, your linebackers. You got to shore up the defense for sure. But I feel confident that this team has a lot of things going for them. Now, they're a different type of very bright from the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are very bright because they could win a championship any year now. Chicago's more they're very bright because it's are they going to win a championship next year? Probably not, but it's clear that they have the right head coach in the building and the right quarterback. And as long as you have those two guys with what is a really talented roster, you're going to be winning a lot of games. And in the context of Chicago, which, Chicago Bears fans, let's be real, hasn't seen a ton of success, knowing that you're going to have these two guys together with an established, really good roster and a GM that has shown aggression, this Bears team, their future is very bright. Now they're going to win a championship? I don't know, but I think they can win a lot of games. Next up, San Francisco. They are the definition of now or never. It feels like it's this year, next year, or the year after. And if they don't get the job done, yikes. I don't know. You have Christian McCaffrey. How many more years does he have left in his prime? How many more years of Trent Williams do you have? How many more years of George Kittle, post-torn Achilles do you have? Nick Bosa, Fred Warner coming off massive injuries. Right, and then all these other players too. The nice thing about San Francisco is they are kind of bridging the gap a little bit. They have a couple young guys too, so they can survive once these guys retire. But like, let's be honest, when those guys move on, it's gonna be tough, right? Christian McCaffrey is your whole offense. He is your identity on that side. Trent Williams is your best offensive lineman by a country mile. So when those guys leave, inevitably, it's going to make your roster worse. You're an expensive football team. You don't have a ton of cap space. It does feel like San Francisco is in a pinch, not to mention you're in a division that has the Rams, and we'll get to the Seattle Seahawks here in a little bit, that are damn good. So it feels like it's like now or never, like to the truest extent. All right, Philadelphia. Realistically speaking, Philadelphia cannot get significantly better in terms of roster and personnel. They're such a good and well-rounded football team. They have everything you want. Really, it just comes down to the head coach position, right? So I can't put them in like bright or anything like that because they are who they are at this point. It's more so of like, who's going to be the head coach of the future? Is it going to continue to be Nick Sirianni? What the coordinators look like? The roster is not going to get a ton better. It just can't because the money situation and how many superstars they already have on the roster. More than likely, you're going to start to see some guys, leave, like maybe a Blankenship, maybe AJ Brown this offseason. We'll have to wait and see on that. They're tough because it's like they're not in absolute hell. They're not in scary future. They have one of the best GMs. Now or never, probably not. Uncertain, probably not. Signs of light, I don't know, man. This one's tough. Maybe just put him in bright. I don't know. Play it safe here. This is tough. This is the hardest one so far. All of them I've had answers to. This one I don't know. It's definitely not uncertain, right? I'm gonna do it in bright just because they're not an old football team. So like if you fire your head coach, you bring in a new one, and that new one's great, then you're probably gonna win a championship. So we'll put them in bright. We'll put them in bright, yeah. Las Vegas. Ooh, let's see here. I mean, look, let's be honest. New head coach in the building. You're having a new starting quarterback in the building. You're feeling great about that. You're definitely not very bright because those guys have not played a single game as head coach and starting quarterback in the NFL. But they're clearly trending in the right direction. So I'll put them in signs of light. Very much a different kind of, or maybe I should just put them in uncertain. Let me do uncertain actually, because we haven't seen Fernando play. We haven't seen Kubiak as a head coach. For all we know, they could be horrendous. And we're looking at in absolute hell. So we'll put them in uncertain because we haven't seen those guys play. Plus, they have a lot of work to do, right? They have money. They have some capital. They have some draft picks. They got to get this ship rolling fast. All right, Green Bay, man. I'm going to put them in like, is it scary future or now or never? I'm going to put them in like scary future because the roster had a window the past few years to win it all. They didn't get the job done. They've been kind of up and down. They just extended their head coach, a head coach that is kind of controversial with a lot of the fans, which I think LaFleur is a good head coach, but still. You just paid Micah Parsons top of market. Jordan Love is a massively paid player. Matthew Golden, and let's be honest, their entire draft class last year didn't really do a ton in their rookie seasons. I still have hope in Golden and, the offensive tackle they took in round 2, or was it round 3? Can't remember. But I still have faith that they're going to end up working out. But and Green Bay doesn't have a ton of money. They also don't have a first round pick this year, nor next year, right? Next year? Yeah, I don't think they have their pick next year either. I think that one goes to the New York Jets. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, what do you do? How do you get better? You don't have money in free agency to spend. You don't have high-end draft capital to significantly get a potential superstar in the draft. I don't know. You're clearly good. You're clearly going to contend for playoff spots, but are you going to be able to ever get over the hump? Like, are you ever going to be able to get the roster to be better than just a wild card or divisional round loser? I don't know. That's why I'm going to put them in scary future. Washington Commanders, they have to overhaul this roster. I'm going to put them in, I don't want to put them in scary future, but I'm going to put them in uncertain. Obviously, you feel okay about Jaden Daniels if he can stay healthy, which is the biggest thing. But Dan Quinn is already entering the season kind of on a simmering seat. His seat is definitely it's getting a little up there. It's a little hot right now, which is never a good thing. You never want to go into a season with the head coach on the hot seat. That's never a good thing. You have a ton of roster overhaul you're going to have to do to get younger, get more depth. And you also are entering a draft where you only have, I think, 6 draft picks in the entire class, which is not an ideal spot to be at. So you're going to have to replace a lot of your older guys. You're going to have to get a lot younger. You don't have a ton of draft assets. You have a good bit of cash, though. And you might have your quarterback. Obviously, the injuries are the one thing that hold me back on him. If healthy, he looks to be a superstar, which is great. But I got to put them in uncertain. I can't put them in scary future because they have Jaden Daniels, who, if healthy, is good. And they have money to work with. And they also have a direction they're trending towards now. It's not like they're trying to go all in on a championship like they were last year, which was a complete flop. They now hopefully know, hey, we need to get younger and start to build around Jaden Daniels and his future. All right, the Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to have them in, I'll put them in scary future. I didn't love the head coaching hire. I don't think it's a flop by no means, but I didn't feel like it was like impressive what they did. I thought it was just kind of like, okay, I guess you're really banking on the last name there. In addition to that, you had the massive questions with Kyler Murray. You have a lot of work to do on your offense. You have some money to work with, but not like a boatload. And you do have a top 3 pick this year, albeit a top 3 pick that you're probably gonna have to reach on a tackle on, which is, I guess, fine. But yeah, I'm gonna put them in scary future. I mean, you could make the argument they should be more on like uncertain, but I don't know. I've seen this roster just not be able to get the job done. Marvin Harrison Jr., we'll see. I mean, he hasn't looked special like we thought he was going to. And look, Kyler Murray, that's a massive question that they have to get answered really soon. If I was LaFleur, that would be the number one question I'd want to get figured out. Do I want Kyler? Do I not want Kyler? So we'll wait and see. Pittsburgh Steelers. Look, I can't put them in absolute hell. I'm gonna put them in scary future, or it could be uncertain here a little bit. I just feel like McCarthy is now entering the building, and it's just kind of like, are you gonna work? I don't know. I'm gonna put them in absolute hell, man. No, I'll put them in scary future. Steelers fans, I hope you can understand. Look, here's the reality of the situation. I didn't love the Mike McCarthy hire. I feel like Mike McCarthy is he's like as okay can get, which is fine if your roster is great. Like, look at the Packers when they won the championship with McCarthy. That roster was unbelievable. The Cowboys, when they went 12-5 for all those years, give McCarthy credit. He did his thing, but the Cowboys had a damn good roster those years with a ton of with a ton of talented guys. Dak, CD. Was he there for Amari Cooper? I don't know if he was there for like the prime of Cooper, but like so many just really talented pieces that were great there. And Micah, obviously, Trevon in his prime. Dan Quinn helped him out a ton on the defense, but they never got the job done. And you look at Pittsburgh and you say, okay, we have kind of this win now roster, but we don't have our quarterback. And if I'm Mike McCarthy, who's going to be my guy? Is it going to be Will Howard? I don't know. I mean, I liked Will in the draft. I don't know if I want him to be my franchise quarterback. We're also just too talented to ever really end up with like a top 10 pick because we're going to find ways to win games because we're that good. But we're also not good enough to do anything in the postseason. So we're just kind of stuck in this mediocre cycle. And until somebody goes in there and just kind of rips everything apart and resets the roster, then maybe we can start talking about there being some future there. But there seems like there is like a stubbornness almost with this organization to just keep rolling with what you have and see if we can just find the quarterback to get us over the hump, which is near impossible because you don't have, the draft capital to get that young quarterback. So you're banking on a free agent hitting the market, and you're never going to find a quality free agent quarterback 9 times out of 10. And last year was the one year you could have took a swing at Sam Darnold, and you didn't. You took Aaron Rodgers. And then look at Seattle. They're feeling great about themselves. So we'll see, man. Pittsburgh they're in a weird spot. The good news is they have some money, and they have some directions they can and some levers to pull to open up more. But, money can only take you so far. You got to have your franchise quarterback, and they don't have that right now. The Buffalo Bills, I'm going to have them in I'll put them in. They obviously have their quarterback, and as long as you have Josh Allen, you're going to have a chance. I don't know. I'll put them in now. It's not now or never because Josh is he's not an old player. He's still super young. I'll put him in uncertain. I didn't love the Joe Brady hire, if I'm just being transparent with you. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was horrendous, but I just felt very I don't know, you didn't get better. You just probably got a little worse. And I'm happy for Brady. It seems like he's a cool guy in the locker room. He likes the guy, but good guys, that's fine. But you got to win championships. You got to win football games. You got to outsmart other guys. And we'll see about him in that regard. But you have Josh Allen, and you're going to have an aggressive mindset this offseason to try and turn this thing around. Not turn the thing around, but get the thing going, I suppose, to try and win a championship. I can't put it in a scary future or anything like that because as long as Josh Allen's there, you're a contender every year. I just put it at more like uncertain just because, like, is Joe Brady going to be the guy? Is he going to be the great head coach they need to be? And, what can they do to build this roster around Josh Allen? Plus, can they put it together in the postseason? I don't know. All right, Atlanta Falcons, man. The James Pierce Jr. thing puts an absolute just pin in this whole roster. Because, look, if James Pierce just, I don't know, went to Cabo the entire offseason, chilled out, didn't do anything crazy, they would have been up here. I love the Stefanski hire, him, Drake London, Bijan. Quarterback, we'll figure that out. But, look, I'm going to have to put them in, honestly, like, is it weird not to put them in a scary future? Like, you look at this team. You don't know who your quarterback's going to be. Kirk Cousins is older. He was good last year, and he'll probably, if he is the starter, he would be good in a Stefanski system. But he's, what, 37, 38, something like that? He's old, and he can't move. He's old and coming off an Achilles injury, too. And then you have Penix, who is not a spring chicken. He's, what, mid-20s now, coming off multiple injuries, and was okay when he played last year. And you look at the roster, it's like, it's a good roster. And they have a little bit of some money to work with to improve the roster. But you also throw in the fact now that you don't have your first round pick. The first round pick you sent to the Los Angeles Rams is the 13th overall pick. And the guy that you traded that first round pick for might be in freaking jail. That's tough, man. That is tough. And so, and by the way, that guy last year was a multiple sack guy. Like, he was going to be somebody that would have been pushing for 10 sacks a season. You don't find those guys very easily. And when you potentially have one, you like for them not to be in freaking jail. But here we are. So it's tough. You lose that stud on your defense, potentially. We'll see what ends up coming from that one. And you don't have your own first round pick. So you can't address quarterback seriously, which has been Stefanski's Achilles heel. And you lost one of your best players defensively. That's tough, right? The good news is I think Stefanski can really do wonders with Bijan. And look, I think that they will be better with Stefanski, but it's like, are they ever going to be able to reach the mountaintop? I don't know. So, I don't know. It feels a little harsh to put them in scary future, but I'll put them here just with all those kind of like massive questions they're going to have to get figured out this offseason with quarterback and what happens with James Pierce. Seattle, very bright. No need to comment on that one. New England, very bright. Made the Super Bowl in year one of Mike Vrabel. Yeah, they got some things to figure out, but I mean, you can't deny what they did. Easy ones there. Cleveland Browns. Is this an absolute hell team? They are. They're an absolute hell. Look, Todd Monken, I'm rooting for the guy. Seems like a good dude. I'm happy he gets this opportunity. He's been in the league for so many years now. Let's be honest. Is Todd Monken the long-term guy? I don't know. Maybe, probably. I don't know. But is Todd Monken the most inspirational hire ever? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you got off a head coach in Stefanski, who I think is pretty good, although I feel like it was a mutual thing that they needed to get off of him. But you enter an offseason now with Deshaun Watson still on the roster, very little money in cap space. You got Myles Garrett making $60 million. And yeah, he's a superstar, but he's making 60 M's. You do have 2 first-round picks, but you have so many needs on this offense. You probably need 2 receivers, and you probably need 3 to 4 offensive linemen in the next 1 or 2 off seasons. And then you also have to address quarterback. Is it going to be Shador? If it is Shador good enough to win a championship? I don't know. And then all while you're spending all this capital on your defense, you somehow have to keep this defense together, which is going to be tough because you're investing all your assets on your offense. So you're putting everything into your offense while your defense is just kind of withering away. Oh, and you lost your defensive coordinator, and they're an absolute hell, man. And they kept their GM. Ownership of this team has been just horrendous. They have been the Browns for so many years now, and it's unbelievable that through all these attempts they've taken, and all these quarterbacks they've put through the ringer, and all these coaches they've put through the ringer, we're still in the exact same situation for the past 15, 20 years. It's unbelievable, man. It baffles my brain that this Browns team can't get this thing right. It is so, I feel for Browns fans, man. Texans, we'll put them in bright. They got to get the quarterback situation figured out. But if they can find a decent quarterback, even if that's CJ Stroud just being an average quarterback, they can win a championship. That is how good their team is. They got to shore up the offensive line. They got to get Stroud back on track. If they can do that, they're one of the favorites next year. Kansas City, scary future, man. Scary future. Not an absolute hell because you have Patrick Mahomes. But look, let's be honest. Down year for this team. You have a top 10 pick. But they are last in cap space. Granted, they have no dead money attached to them. So they could, they can make some moves. But still, are you going to cut Chris Jones? I don't think so, right? You can restructure Patrick Mahomes. You can make a few little cuts and moves here and there, but you're last in the NFL right now in open cap space, like a -54. You have a number of big-time free agents. Jalen Watson, Brian Cook. I think Leo Chanel is up there too. Your offensive line, we're okay. We're looking fine there. Your receiving core's trash. Rashee Rice is constantly in issues. Kelsey might retire. You don't have a feasible run game right now. Your defensive line is regressing. Karloff does not take a step forward. Chris Jones is getting older. Yikes, man. You have talent, obviously, and Reed is a good head coach, but Reed is also very old, like very old. One of the oldest in the NFL, if not the oldest. Don't quote me on that, but I think now that Carroll's gone, he might be the oldest. So he's old. Probably doesn't have more than 5 years in him at this point. Look, as long as you have Mahomes, you should be fine. But they have a lot of things they have to address. And you're entering a draft where, yes, you have that top 10 pick, but it's not like they have 13 draft picks. I think they have 8 in this class, 9, something along those lines. And you don't have a ton of capital and money to spend. So you're going to get worse in the offseason. You're going to probably try and take some swings and retain who you can. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. I don't know, like, what the Chiefs' long-term plans are. I'm hoping that they have some, and let's be honest, they have the quarterback and they have the right minds in the front office. Clearly, with Mahomes there, they can win a lot of games, but getting back to that championship level, which is what the bar is for Kansas City, I don't know. Dallas Cowboys, now or never. It feels like they are an expensive roster, not just this year, but down the road too. You start making some massive restructures, Dallas is going to be a team to look out for in terms of how they handle their cap space situation down the road. It's now or never for this team. It just is. You bring back George Pickens this year. Dak is in his prime. CD's in his prime. Quinnen is in his prime. Your offensive line has some studs. Like, this team has so much talent. They have to put it all together this year, though, or else it's going to get quite dark for this team. Like, it just is. But they have to get the ship rolling. Their window is now, and it's probably, let's be honest, probably the next 3 to 4 years while Dak is still in his prime. Once Dak retires, you got to have a succession plan, and you got a lot of money on the bankroll. You're going to have to figure that one out. Chargers, let's do sign of light. Look, Herbert got murdered last year. Let's just keep it a stack. But you bring back all your offensive line healthy, hopefully. You address the interior massively. You lost Jesse Minter, which is holding me back from putting them in bright, but signs of light there for sure, right? You have a ton of money to work with in the offseason. You don't have a ton of massive free agents. You're already a really good roster. You like your head coach, but you got to replace your defensive coordinator, and you got to address that interior offensive line. And look, I can't put them in bright until Justin Herbert wins a playoff game. Put it point blank simple. New York Jets, I'm going to put them in uncertain. They have so much draft capital that it's just kind of like, let's wait and see what they do in the draft. Carolina, we'll do signs of light. Really took a nice step forward this year. I don't know if with this roster, with Bryce Young, they're going to win a championship, but they're clearly trending upward, and this year is going to be a massive one to see if they can take another step forward. Tennessee, we're going to put them also in signs of light. You got your head coach. You got your quarterback. Okay, we have a bit of a foundation here to work with. I like the hire Brian Dable. I think him and Cam Ward could be fun. Cool. We have some things rolling here. Can we take that next step? We got a ton of money. We have a top pick in this year's class. Let's start to put the pieces together, and we'll see where this team goes in a few years. Indianapolis Colts, an absolute hell. Is that crazy? I think it's a little crazy. Let's go with scary future. The roster's good, like really, really good, like good enough to win a championship. But your quarterback, Daniel Jones, tore his Achilles, and your backup is Riley Leonard. What do you do there? Do you re-sign the torn Achilles Daniel Jones? Probably good amount of money. Do you get off that contract and then go for Malik Willis? And by the way, you don't have your first round pick this year because you put it all on Sauce Gardner. You also don't have your first round pick next year either. And this quarterback class is not great this year. You take out Fernando, you're probably not going to get your hands on Ty Simpson. Are you going to go for Garrett Nussmeier to be your starting quarterback? Probably not. So you're probably bringing back Daniel Jones, who you're going to have to give a good-sized contract to, a dude who tore his Achilles. Not ideal. So, yeah, scary future. And then Jacksonville, I got to go very bright. I just think they're a damn good roster, man. And I think their head coach is great. They have not even unlocked Travis Hunter. Trevor Lawrence took a step forward. they're trending in the right direction. I thought they had a chance versus Buffalo in the playoffs. They definitely had a chance. They're going to continue to get better, and I expect them to take a big step forward this year and honestly the next year as well. But guys, let me know in the comment section below, what do you agree with and what do you disagree with? Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. By the way, first and 10, we do a lot of awesome draft content. So if you're looking for some draft channels and some draft guides and things like that, please check us out. I'd really be greatly appreciated. There's a link in the description, or you can just go to my channel, scroll down, you'll see all my channels on the bottom of my home feed. I'd really appreciate a subscribe over there. We're doing some awesome work. So guys, thank you so much. I love you guys. Peace.